Right, an update on these blueberries that I've been macerating in vodka. They've had about 2 weeks, and because they are already have been crushed, I think that'll just be about right. So we'll give them a taste, and we'll see how we are. But if they're really quite alcoholic and firmed up, yeah, they feel like they're firmed up. So the alcohol is kind of pulled out any kind of excess moisture left from them, and then replaced it with alcohol, and then that moisture that's come out of the blueberries has gone into the vodka, so we can see that it's coloured like that. So, so they've definitely firmed up, and they've definitely got the alcohol kind of flavour. Slightly kicking myself that I really would have liked to have used gin in retrospect, but that's something we can do in the future. So gin would have been better because it's floral. Does that sound right? It's got aromats in. There we go. And botanicals. There we go. And vodka hasn't got that. Vodka's basically just straight alcohol cut with water to get it down to about 40%. So gin would have been better, but vodka is what I had because I was doing something else. So what we'll do is we will strain off the liquid, and we'll squeeze out the excess alcohol from the blueberries, and then we'll use the blueberries in a rich fruit cake, and then we'll see what kind of like the vodka. Let's just taste the vodka. We'll see what the vodka tastes like. It's alright actually. It's alright actually. It's not. It still tastes, when you make things like blueberry gin or blueberry vodka, you tend to lose quite a lot of the alcoholic kick because there's more liquid in unsmashed blueberries. So I've squeezed out the majority of the liquid from those blueberries, so we actually haven't watered the vodka down that much, so it's still kind of quite pungent. Pungent, is that the right word? It's got a bit of a kick to it. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon and I'm drinking vodka. That's not bloody good, is it? So we'll drain it off, we'll squeeze the excess liquid out of those blueberries again, and then we'll kind of see what they're like, what kind of volume they've got, and then we'll turn them into a cake, I think. Right, so we have lost weight in the berries. It was about 2.45 kilos. We're down to scale still on. We're down to 1.32 kilos. So we've lost liquid out of there, obviously. Yeah, the scales were properly done. But we have gained liquid. So there is about 1.7 litres worth of liquid. So we put in about 800 millilitres. So obviously the weight, we've got the more juice has come out of the berries and gone into the vodka. So that'll probably be about 20%. Now, it seems we've doubled the weight, doubled the volume of the vodka, of the liquid. That's pretty good now. It's been, ooh, that's pretty good now. With what we call it now, we've strained it. So yeah, so that's where the weight of the from the fruit's gone. It's gone in a liquid form into the vodka. So we've gained vodka, we've lost liquid out of those. So those will, in the cake, will preserve even better. Won't be able to use, it'll probably be down to about 2 cakes worth of fruit there. Possibly. I don't think. I don't want to bulk it out. I just want to make that amount of cake. But we'll kind of see. Probably what I'll do is if I've just got in slightly, well, we'll just mix it together. I'll weigh out the right amount of fruit for 2 cakes, and then if we've got a little bit extra, we might put it in, or we might just save it, freeze the excess amount of fruit, and put it in another cake. But that's all right, is that? I think that's nicer when my friends make their blueberry vodka. I think there's just something about it. I just don't. I'm not 100% that I like about it. But that's nice, is that? Maybe with some sugar in, that would be very nice. But we'll put that in a bowl, and we'll stick it in the cupboard, and we'll use that for other things, and we'll turn this into cake, which will be part of this video. Maybe, we can't see. But anyway, there we go. So that's worked, and I've got more bites out of the cherry. So from those blueberries, I got the juice out of them, which I turned into cordial, which is very nice. So standard cordial recipe. I've done it loads of times. You just basically reduce the juice down, and add sugar and a bit of something acidic, like oranges, no, about lemons, or sometimes maybe lime, to make a nice cordial. And then we've got a blueberry vodka out of it, and we've still got the fruit, which we can use in cakes. So we've had 3 bites of the cherry, so that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good. And we've got it's still got quite a decent strength alcohol, not had to waste any sugar. So ordinarily what you do is you add vodka or gin to blueberries with some sugar, shake it up, and you get blueberry vodka, and you get the leftover fruit, which I used in cakes in the past when my friends gave it to me, and it was very nice. But I've managed to get cordial as well, so that's good, is that? So we've had 3 bites of the cherry rather than 2, and then, well, I hope you know what that means. Yeah, so yeah, like double bubble, if that kind of makes sense. Like 2 bites of the cherry means that you get double use out of something when you would just get 1 single use out of it. But we've got 3 bites out of the cherry in this case, because we've got the fruit, the vodka, and the cordial. But there we go. So a success. So I have made some cake mixture, and I have weighed the fruit. We are 2 ounces off the right amount of fruit for that amount of cake. So I'm doing the 442 recipe for a cake, and so for every egg there needs to be half a pound of fruit. So there needs to be, because there's 6 eggs in there, there needs to be 3 pounds of fruit with 2 ounces off. But we might be okay. We might be okay. The fruit is a lot drier than I'd normally use. So that's a lot drier than like raisins and tarts and things like that. So I think that might be okay. But we'll just kind of see how it is anyway. So we'll mix it up. Best off using a wooden spoon. Plastic spoons and metal spoons aren't really kind of strong enough for mixing fruit into cake. Oh, I kind of did something funny there. Not to worry. So I'm sure this is right. I'm sure it's half. I'm sure it's £1.5 pounds. Let's just check before we start. Let me just check my recipe. Hang on. Yes, it's right. It's 6 eggs, 3 pounds of fruit. So, although it looks like a lot, it does look like a lot, doesn't it? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. If it's not, it's not, and we'll do something else with it. So, yeah, just need to break these up a bit. So, mix round. Not the best bowl to do this in, but I'm trying to save on washing up. Do you need to see me making a mess of this? Probably not. But I should have put it in a better bowl. Should have put it in a better bowl. Shall I put it in a different bowl? Do that mix? No. I will. I'm going to end up knocking the camera, so I'll pause, and then once I've mixed it, we'll be back. That looks like a lot of fruit for that amount of cake mixture. But I think what's happened is, wipe my hands. What I think's happened is that the drop some on the floor now. Hang on, let me just get that messed up. Just standing in cake mixture. So what I think happened is it's the kind of fruits mixed into the cake mixture, so it looks like there's not the right amount of cake mixture, but I think there is. So, triple lined cake tins, like that, and then cake mixture into there, and then about, this is going to be an interesting cake. Probably should have used them as part of a bigger batch. This is going to be interesting. So yeah, Probably should have used them as a part of a bigger batch, but not to worry. So yeah, 3 layers of baking parchment in the cake mixture, in the cake pan. I'll do the recipe and the size of the pan in the description. Mixed it all in at the bottom as always. Not to worry, it'll all work itself out, I'm sure, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And much more about, you know, things go right and things go wrong, and as long as we learn from the things that go wrong, everything's alright. So press down to there, and about 140, 150 in the oven, not Fahrenheit, Celsius, and about 3 ovens, about 3 hours, something like that. And what I am going to do is I'm going to put a layer of baking parchment over the top of these 2 cake tins, so it just protects the top from drying out and cooking too much. Drying out or cooking too much. Very stiff. Let's see how this turns out. I have not got the highest of hopes for this, so I need a scraper. I haven't got the highest of hopes for this. I think there might be too much fruit, but I find no, there isn't too much fruit. I think there's too much surface area on the fruit. So I think that's what the problem is. That if we have a problem with this, I think it'll be because the fruit is broken up. There's more surface area to it, because you've got the insides and the outsides all out. So that might be a case of, that might be the reason it fails, because there's too much surface area on the fruit. There's the right amount of weight in fruit, but just a little bit too much surface area. So if you kind of imagine an orange has got a certain amount of surface area, but if you break that orange up into segments, it's got a higher surface area because you've exposed the insides of it, which is what I'm getting at, if that makes sense. I do worry, well, I don't worry, but I do think that sometimes my description of things is probably not the best description. Although English is my first language, I'm not that good at spelling. My vocabulary is not that good either. So I blame the education system. So right there. So we'll see how these turn out. There's loads of fruit in it. I think it'll taste good. It might just not be exactly what we want. So that. Then when we put it in the oven, I'll put a. This is just an old bit of baking parchment. We'll put a layer of baking parchment on the top and tuck it round, and then put those on top so it holds it down in the oven. Then that'll just give it a bit of protection while it's cooking. It worked last time. My mum ties them on, so puts baking parchment over the top and then ties it with a bit of string. But I think that's going a bit OTT, and she hasn't got a fan oven. She's got an old-fashioned oven. But anyway, so that's that. 3 hours-ish. We'll see how they turn out. Right, they've had 3 hours. They smell ready. Well, they smell good. Let's see if they're ready. I'm not so sure. Let's stick something in them. See if it comes out clean. Yeah, it's come out clean, and it's a bit of a chef's trick. The food hygiene people don't like it if you do it, but what you do, something metal in your cake, and then you put that to the bottom part of your lip, just to see if it's hot, and if it's too hot on your lip, then it's cooked all the way through. So they're ready. We'll let them cool, and then we'll have a kind of look at them. I don't like the way they've cracked. I don't like the way they've cracked. But I think it might, like I said, I think it might be too much. What did I say before? Whatever I said before. I think it might be too much. I think the fruit might be too small. The surface area. There we go. That's what I meant. I think there might be too much surface area, which is interesting, isn't it? So I don't know how we'd calculate that if we're thinking about making cakes. I don't know how we'd go around calculating the surface area for the right amount of surface area for the fruit that you're putting in a cake. I'll have a think about that. It'll be nice. It smells good. It certainly smells good. It certainly smells like blueberries and a little bit of alcohol, so it should be delicious. But we'll see when they're cold. Cool. Let's have a look. Cool as in cold, not cool as in amazing. So let's have a look. Oh, okay, it cuts okay. Doesn't feel like it's too tough. It feels like it's nice and moist. God, that's really dark. That's really dark, isn't it? That's really dark. That's far too much of that fruit. That's far too much of that fruit. So, it's nice. Very moist. I worry that's going to go off. Might just have to eat one of those straight away. I don't want to waste it. See, I'm eating with a mouthful again. So, it's nice, but crushing the berries has given it far too much surface area. So, I'm going to say it probably would have been better with half that amount. Or use the berries as part of a fruit cake with some other things in them, which probably would have been better. But you know, I wanted to see what it was like. I should have just done one actually, but then I don't like. Yeah, I should have just done one, shouldn't I? And then got some other ingredients and kind of mix those two to kind of like see. So, but you know, I'm not that. I've done it again. I've taken another bite when I should be talking. I'm eating. But it's delicious. So, yeah. So, I think substitute a third of the. So, if we're doing a 3-egg cake, I'd do half a pound worth of that fruit, the blueberry fruit, and then make up the other 2 pound of fruit in candied peel, and some cherries and some raisins and some sultanas, that type of thing. But it's nice. I'm just not going to mature it because I worry that it's a little bit too moist. It doesn't look very appealing, in all honesty. I think I could fix it by breaking it up and making another cake out of it, which is something we might do, actually. I was curious about that. There was something that I was thinking about the other day. I was thinking about using up odds and sods of cakes to make a other cake, like bits of old, like an odds and sods type of thing. So maybe a few broken biscuits and maybe a bit of fruitcake that got a bit stale, and some bits of fruit, and kind of like combining them all into one to make like a new cake. So potentially we'll do that, but I'm going to eat that one straight away. I'm not going to let it mature because I think it'll go off. And it's too moist that it'll want to, like bacteria and yeast love moisture, and I think it'll just be a little bit too moist and it'll go off before it kind of starts to mature. That's my only concern. I don't want to waste it because it's really nice. So I think a third of the fruit to be the blueberries in future, because I will end up doing this again because it's kind of quite interesting and it's nice. But I think a third to 2/3 worth of other fruits that we're going to put in there would be a good ratio, and it make it nice and moist. But there we go. So instead of getting 2 bites out of the cherry, the blueberries, we've got 3. We've made some cordial, we've made some alcohol, and we've made a fruit cake. So that's a winner for me, and we've not wasted a thing. So we've got 3 things out of 1. So there we go. A success. These aren't 100% a success, but interesting all the same. And if we don't do, we don't find out. Do you know what I mean? So I have questions, and instead of not finding out the answers to these questions, and just carry on doing the normal things, I'm just kind of thinking, well, we'll never learn anything, do we? But we have learned something, and you know, I'm kind of quite curious about things. So I will not put that in my mouth. I will stop the video and then put it in my mouth and enjoy that cake for the next 2 weeks.